Grove. You know I like Miss Clark. Yeah, she know he is my friend. Say if I just stay out the grave, he'll see that I don't go to the pen. Miss Clark is a lawyer, he could last stream. He's the first man to prove that water run upstream. You know I like Miss Clark. Yeah, she know he is my friend. Say if I just stay out the grave, he'll see that I don't go to the pen.
What's going on, fishy friends?
What are you doing?
I don't know. Just gotta, just gotta switch it up.
Silly bean. All right.
How you doing tonight, Lady C?
I'm excited. We're together on this
We are
show. Right on.
together. If you guys didn't notice with the intro, this is a special edition
Yes.
of the Crazy Horse Fishing Hour. Not a fishing report.
No.
So it's
You have a celebrity on the show.
I mean, he's like a all of a sudden big deal. This guy's I can see him blushing on the camera over there. But like, and I'm gonna tell a story about this like newfound big dealness here in a second. But do you want to talk about it?
Not yet. Well, you're gonna introduce him first, right?
Oh well, yeah, we are super excited to welcome
Step one.
Captain Steve Griffin to the show
Yay.
tonight.
With Griffin Guide Services on the Chesapeake.
What's up, my friend?
What's up, man?
Not much.
I don't know if I can live up to that intro, but
I mean,
Oh, we're not done yet.
we're not. Our main goal is to make our guests blush.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if we haven't done that, like forget fishing stories, forget pictures of awesome fish or advice. If we haven't made you blush, we delete it off of YouTube before it even posts.
Well, I'm a New Yorker, so I don't put people on a pedestal unless they earned it. So can't wait to get this started. Let's go. Oh, I'm introducing.
Excited.
Sorry.
We got it together tonight.
So Captain Steve has been in his charter business for about a year, and he is blowing it up on the Chesapeake. Do you know that you're one of the most sought after charter guides in the area now?
I'm honored.
Yes.
This year has been crazy, and I am just so honored. People that want to fish with me and come out. We've had some great trips, and it's been such a good time. I can't believe it. I'm blown away, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to share your stories about this because I watched some of your videos. I listened to a podcast. Your photos are amazing. We have some really great stories that I can't wait for everyone to hear from you.
He's on your short list now, isn't he?
Oh, that's right. So I do have a Beastmaster list, right? There's certain people, right? Captain Pete, Alan Batista, Beastmasters. You have made the list.
Wow.
I'm with those guys.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm missing some people in there.
You're
But
not gonna throw our man LJ on that?
LJ, yeah, you went fishing with them. That was a great one too. I saw that. LJ and Alan Batista.
I love fishing with both of them.
So here's the story that I'm going to tell. So we had LJ on this show. Gosh, that was over the winter, right?
Yeah.
We had LJ on the show, and right after the show, we were talking, and he was like, "You know what? You need to have Steve Griffin on the show."
See?
And I was like, "Who?"
Yeah.
Like we're not big time at all, but I was probably trying to big time. I'm like, "Who's this guy, Steve Griffin?" And he was like, "He's this new charter captain." I was talking to him, and he was like, "Dude, I want to be on that show." So I was like, "All right." I mean, like we've had a lot of charter captains on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can do a promo like we do for other charter captains. Maybe we can do that for them. So I reached out to you, and you're like, "Cool, man, let's do it." And this is still like 6 or 7 months ago. Little did I know, come now I'm like, hey, Steve, would you please come on our show? Like, I know I couldn't sniff a day on your boat because you're so busy now, but I'm like, could you please come on and talk about how you catch all these big fish?
So silly. Well,
Still honored. I got to tell you, I'm still
Captain
honored.
Steve is doing some amazing things with Like Tackle. Beastmaster doing some things with youth. So I can't wait to get started. But what do we need to introduce first?
Our sponsors.
Yes.
Got to talk about
Muy
sponsors.
importante. Yeah.
And so, obviously we're sponsored by, we talked about them already. Our man, we're going to do like a sponsorship announcement / prize announcement. So we got the Rain Minnows from GI Jigs. And if you guys want to know if this jig is effective or not.
Got a good photo.
What's
Look at that. Oh
What's
my
that in that
gosh.
fish's mouth? I
Hey, that's
believe
my boat.
that might be
Something like that.
matching what's in that fish's face.
That's crazy.
And that is a giant.
Yes.
That is a
That
big
can't
old
be
fish.
real. That's
So-
just-
So that's part of our prize tonight. This is a 1 ounce. We've also got, he started making half ounces this year. So
okay.
if you're a really light tackle guy and you'd rather a half ounce,
Yeah.
that is all you.
Mhm.
We also have from BKD, another one of our sponsors, a pack of BKDs. One of them has already got a,
set to go.
what do you think that is? 3/4 ounce?
Yeah. It's not too light. It's not too
Oh,
heavy.
half
It's
ounce.
somewhere in the middle.
Half
Yeah, there you go. Somewhere in the middle.
Half
It's a
ounce,
half
yeah.
ounce.
I don't know if you run into this, Captain Griffin, but I fish with such small jig heads that anything over like a half ounce, I can't tell. Like all my jig heads are usually like 3/16. I fish in shallow water.
Oh, we're gonna get to those questions.
Oh, yeah.
And lastly, from BKD,
This is
we're throwing
cool.
in trust me, it hasn't been on my gnarly head. This is fresh off the
Yes.
press.
It's like
this
a
is
Ranger
a
hat.
BKD kind of Ranger fisherman's hat.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
I need one of
We
those.
are also sponsored by Backyard Custom Rods,
Oh,
Steve Fogel, the man, and Hook
Hook
Optics.
Optics.
As you can see, Hook Optics actually provided these glasses as well.
they did.
An optical galleria. They noticed, Bob Pino noticed that on every one of these shows, I had like 2 bright white circles because the lighting reflected off my glasses. So he provided me with a really nice prescription pair of glasses. But enough about us.
It's about Captain Steve
Let's talk
tonight.
about this guy.
Yeah. So that's going to be the prize. And Captain Steve gets to choose the question of the evening to win all these fabulous gifts.
Does he know
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
He knows that.
Dude, I knew this was coming.
I'm excited. All right. So without further ado, and we should probably open up the comments so we can see
Oh, anybody talking now?
what's going on so we don't miss anybody. Okay, good. We're
No,
open.
everybody's watching. Nobody's talking yet.
It's okay.
They
So
usually start talking after we show the prizes.
that's true. Or something interesting is said. We're not there yet.
Because he hasn't started talking.
Yes. So this is a really basic question, but I really love your story to this question. How did you get into fishing?
Okay. So I don't have your typical I've been fishing my whole life story. I was taking fishing on the Chesapeake Bay when I was younger, and I've lived here my whole life, and it was your typical let's go trolling, drag lines all day, maybe catch a couple fish. It was probably, I can't remember, but it was probably in the spring season, and I hated it. It's like, I'm never going fishing again. And then later in life, I was working with a buddy. We were working up in Western Maryland, and we had some spare time, and he said, there's some really good ponds and streams around here. Let's go trout fishing. So he took me to Walmart, bought myself an ugly stick combo,
Love it.
the nice little set that had all the bobbers and everything in it. Ended up not using any of that stuff, but yeah, I fell in love with this casting, seeing fish, being able to cast to them, and I just loved it. Catching these trout, and they were just stock trout, nothing special, rainbows. But then I moved into actually Franklin Manor on the Chesapeake Bay. My wife and I bought our first house, and I drove by the water every day on my way home from work. And I was like, God, I got to get out there. I saw the boats out there fishing. I saw birds working out front of my neighborhood. And I bought a boat. Told my wife, I got to buy a boat. I got to be out there. Bought the boat, bought all the trolling gear and, the typical stuff that everybody around here tells you got to do. And I did that. I caught one big fish trolling, and I was like, well, that was terrible and boring. And my buddy goes, let's go try this light tackle thing. And he brought some bait casters and spinning gear on the boat. And we went out and we caught one little fish that night. We had no clue what we were doing. We caught like a 15-inch rockfish on a jig, and we were all high-fiving and just so excited. And I was like, this is it. I got to figure this out. This is so much fun. So here I am. I'm addicted. I've been addicted since that day. That has just snowballed into all kinds of other stuff. I found out there's more than just rockfish in the bay. There's a lot of really fun stuff in the bay, actually. And here I am. I went to explore.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like just bumbling around and just trying things out. I love that.
I love it. You just went all in. Like,
that's true.
I moved to this region about, gosh, it's been like 9 years now. It's adding up quick. Also, somewhere near where you moved to, and I had to get a kayak first because I wasn't gonna just drop a bunch of money on a boat, and not know if the fishing was any good or anything like that. So my first several years were from a kayak until I got a boat.
Boats were about the same money as a kayak is now back then, so it's not crazy like it is now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a nice boat, not at all. But it got us out there. I mean, lived on the water, and I only had to go a couple miles to get to fish every day. So I go. It's something. Some call it a flaw, but it's helped me in life. Is when I'm stuck on something, I go 120% or more. I just dive in.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm kind of like that too. I don't consider that a flaw.
It's great.
All right. Yeah, I love that story too. I didn't grow up fishing, and my first experience was a bumbling mess too. Of course, the person who gave me that kayak forgot the rudder, and I didn't really know how to cast.
Not me.
No, it wasn't him.
Some jabroni.
So I like this story too. Your story just gets better. These questions may seem kind of boring, but I love some of the answers that you gave on that podcast you did. So what or who do you contribute to your success in fishing and your charter business? And how did Griffin's Guide Service come to be?
Okay, so kind of a lot of stars aligned with this. Something I've always wanted to do. My dad had always told me, you need to just go do this, start your own business. I've got you. You're backed. I'll take care of you. And actually, I lost my dad and my father-in-law within a year of each other. And, they were both within a year of retiring and just planning everything. And it broke my wife and I up so bad. And I was like, life is short. This is no longer my retirement plan, I talked to my wife. We had a young boy. He was only 2 weeks old when my dad passed away. So I was like, I'll be able to spend more time with my son, my family, and kind of control my life a little bit better than going to work every day, working my butt off. And I still do. I work harder now than I ever did before.
Yep.
But I'm able to kind of run my schedule. And so I talked to my wife and I said, I got to do this. This is something Dad always told me to do. And after watching her dad and my dad not be able to live their dreams after retirement. I said, let's do it. And I jumped, and she was super supportive. I had a couple people backing me. LJ, I got to thank LJ so much. Maybe 2 years ago, when I first started, a little over 2 years ago, when I first started thinking about doing this, I went to LJ, and we were sitting in his basement drinking a few beers. If you ever been
Miller
to
Lite.
if you ever been to his basement, you know you can't go there without a Miller Lite. And he's like, Steve, just do it. I said, LJ, maybe I'll get one trip a week, if I'm lucky. He was like, no, just do it. You'll be surprised. And I mean, I've taken those words with me. He probably doesn't know this, but those were some of the most influential words that got me going, actually.
Yeah, he's a really high character guy, obviously, but I can hear those words coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Your story really sounds, similar in a lot of ways to some of the decisions that Anastasia and I have made. And man, it's, obviously, much respect for having the courage, but it's scary, isn't it?
Got to tell you, it's one of the craziest things I've done. My wife, I think she lost a little bit of sleep. Bless her heart. She's been there with me the whole time. And here we are going along for this crazy ride. And it's, I thought it was going to be a little bit longer before I could tell her I told you so, but I told her I could make this work. And it's working.
But there's nothing better than, waking up and, deciding, which part of your passion you're gonna chase today, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry for your loss, and
thank you.
I love that you honor your family, your father and your wife and your child, and doing what you're doing. I'm not gonna cry because we don't have any tissue. Yeah, I get that way. I love, and I'm just so inspired when men and women too really take the steps that you do. It's really inspirational. So just know that what you're doing is echoing.
Thank you.
Well, he's making echoes in other places, right? He's working with.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get there.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, children are near and dear to my heart for sure. I'm not gonna cry. But I saw a couple of posts and a video that you did with volunteering for combos for kids.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, kids. I love taking kids fishing. They're the hardest humans to take fishing because that's my son.
That's Vinny, right?
Yeah, that's Vinny. That's my boy. That was the first fish he's seen in real life.
Oh, he's such a little bean.
Yeah. He's so much fun.
This kid.
Yes. I mean, these smiles, you can't beat it.
No. Oh, look at that bent rod. I love it. He's fighting it too. He's not playing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I love everything about taking kids fishing, even though, 5 minutes into the trip, they say, are we ever going to catch any fish?
Is it time to go? Yeah.
Right. But when you do put them on fish, and actually the one boy there, I want to catch fish all by myself. His dad was going to cast for him and hand him a rod. He said, no, I want to learn and I want to do it. I mean, that's what it's there for. So anglers came to me. I've got a great relationship with the people at Anglers. They're awesome. And what they're doing with combos for kids is spectacular. It's so cool that they're bringing these people out that just never would have any chance of getting on the water and going fishing. And they're putting rods in their hands. They're putting gear in their hands and giving them everything they need. And it's so much fun because we might take it for granted. I'm on the water 6 days a week now. And I take it for granted because these people come on the water and it's like the best day of their life.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Yeah, it is. So there's different ways you can volunteer for combos for kids. Obviously, financial donations You don't need a boat. I've seen some videos where captains got on the banks and fished with children. There's all different kinds of volunteer opportunities. So I encourage anyone who's interested to check out their website. Definitely so important to be there for our youth, particularly youth that don't have access to things like we do. That's near and dear to my heart. I grew up like that. And just being able to get out, and it doesn't have to be fishing. It could just be hanging out with you and having that guy-to-guy talk that they don't have a father for. So just really important work to give back. And so I really appreciate what you've done in that, because it's so important.
Absolutely. It's great. These kids they're loving it.
Yeah. Speaking of great things that you've done, man, you said the last year has been miraculous.
Yes.
But like the bull redfish this year, it's been a good year for them, right? But you've been crushing it.
Yeah. People are noticing it. There's a lot of comments about what they're seeing on your Facebook page. Nice red, big red fish. There's a photo going around of a shark.
Oh, yeah.
Just
we'll get to all that.
Yeah.
But like you're knocking it out of the park.
Yes.
Is it just hard work? Is it, is it your equipment? Is it,
What's the magic?
Are you just a genius? What's going on? What's the magic?
I just noticed. See that on my hat? That's
No.
wet.
Wet.
No, it is hard work. And I grind really hard for these fish when I go out. They consume me in the summertime. I just all year long, all I want to do is I want the reds to show up. I want the reds to show up. And because of that, I've set myself up as far as my equipment and just what I've focused on for several years now. When they're in town, that's my game. I'm dedicated to figuring these fish out. And I just sweat it out there, grind on these fish. I figured out a couple tricks that I think are definitely helping. And just learning, I learn something new every day. I don't know it all. And every day I go out, I come back in and I'm like, man, I'm getting even better at this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, like I said, my equipment is all top notch. When I say I go all in on everything I do, I went all in on my boat, my gear. I've got all the best gear on the boat. My rule is if, I work so hard to get my clients on these fish, I don't want these fish to come off for any reason other than my mistake or theirs. So all my gear's top of the line. And these are fish of a lifetime. People fish their entire lives and they never see fish like these.
Mm-hmm.
These redfish are just something special. The ones we get here in the Chesapeake Bay are monsters.
Yeah.
I got guys that fish all over the world and all over the country for these fish, Louisiana, Carolinas, Florida, and they've never seen anything like it.
Mm.
So, there's some pretty amazing guides out there with you on the bay every day.
Yeah.
And, as if you've seen our fishing reports and other things that, that we're talking to people throughout the week, throughout the month. And a lot of these, charter captains will tell you that they don't target bull reds because it's just a hit and miss game, right? That, a lot of guys would tell me that, you just got to be out in the water and hopefully they'll swim under your boat and you'll pick them up on side imaging. You seem to have kind of shifted your sights where you're targeting those things every day. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to ask you for your secrets because otherwise, why would people book your charter? But what I will ask is at what point did you decide, because I can't imagine you were always going out there targeting reds when they were around. Mm-hmm. At some point you had to have transitioned. And at what point was that caused that transition?
Good question.
Very good question. Yes, I do. My trips from late or middle of July to about the middle of September are strictly red drum trips. That is what we target. We have backups. Like today, it was just so rough. I couldn't go out. We were just getting pounded. So we went out and we caught some rockfish. So I have backups like that we can do with the trips. But I tell people, let's go out for red drum. And it's a grind. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You're swinging for the fences. If you're swinging for the fences, I got to give, this is a quote from Travis, actually. Travis Long.
Oh, Travis Long.
Credit for this one. But
yeah.
If you're going for red drum, you're looking to hit a home run. If you're looking to hit a home run every time, you're going to strike out every once in a while. And I tell everybody this. Or you hit a grand slam. And if you're just going out, you want to play it safe, you just want to get on base and hit some ground balls, we could go catch some rockfish, trout, Spanish mackerel, bluefish, whatever is out there.
Making a lot of baseball references. Sorry.
I every morning or every afternoon, whenever my clients get on the boat, I say, are you committed to catching a fish of a lifetime? These giants, they're only here for 2 months out of the year. Are you committed to it? Because it's going to be a grind. There could be 8 hours, an 8-hour boat ride with nothing, or a great day. And I am very, very happy to say I've only had days we were targeting them. I've had 2 days this year that we didn't get them, and both those days were bad weather days. So it's been very good, and a lot of them. I mean, there's a couple of them where we went 8 hours. We had an 8-hour trip, and we didn't find them till we were actually on our way back home with my tail between my legs. So. But then magic happens, and it really is, you got to put in the work. I'm confident that if they're in the area, I will find them.
Yeah. We got some questions coming in, and I'm going to get to those in a second. But are you getting to the point now when your customers come aboard your boat that they're kind of expecting that they come to you for the redfish?
Yeah, most everybody that I have booked, and I'm so fortunate. I'm booked solid through middle of September, and everybody that's booked in this time frame, they know what they're getting into. They want the reds. They've come to me for reds.
So we're not doing that promo video like in the next couple of days, right?
He does not need it.
He does not need it. My man does not need any promo right now.
I can't wait to show that picture later of that crazy red in that photo for later on, though. That was amazing. Crazy beast.
Steve Rakowski says, I know the red fishing is a grind. Have you noticed more of a pattern with the fish over the last few years?
Good question.
Very good question. I think it's getting better. I think we're all getting better as a whole in Chesapeake. I think a lot of us guides and a lot of the private guys are getting a lot better at finding them. Electronics are making it a little bit easier. But I do think that every year it's progressively getting better, and I don't know exactly why, but it's fantastic. And a lot of it has to do with the conservation going into these reds. Slot limit. I mean, we only have these big fish around. And so as far as patterns, they're in the same places, doing some of the same stuff that they have been for years. And these patterns are actually going to be changing. I can't wait for the pattern to flip, because that's where I really love hunting for these things. But yeah, I think it's just getting better. This year we're seeing them on top a lot more than I ever have. I've never seen anything like it. They're coming up and breaking and blitzing on the surface like far too often. It's awesome.
Far too often.
It's like it's making me wonder what I did wrong the years prior, but this year it's just been easy.
I used to joke, and I still joke. It's but I'm like, if you like Florida's fishery, just wait 10 years, we'll have it up here. But that's becoming less and less of a joke.
I think you're right.
We got cobia pushing up, redfish pushing up.
Cobia, love those photos. Can't wait till we get to that too.
I mean,
that's
so
crazy.
many of these fish that never used to come into the bay are coming. Not just You know, we're not talking about they come to Point Lookout. You know, we're catching them as far north as Poplar, Chesapeake, the Bay Bridge. I mean,
Yeah.
So spoiler alert, I saw a bull red pulled out of that pound net at Love Point above the Bay Bridge.
Wow.
We were up there fishing, and those guys were fishing their nets, and they pulled a bull red out of that net.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And I'll bet you in 10 years that's a regular thing.
Mhm.
I mean, if the trend continues,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So we have a question we got here. So Patrick Glenn, there is a photo going around of a shark-bitten redfish in the bay. If you haven't seen it, do you think it is real or fake? I haven't seen that.
It hasn't happened to me yet, but it's real, and I think it's probably Jamie's picture.
Jamie Clow.
Yeah, he had it happen yesterday, and that's crazy. And I was actually at the fuel dock today talking to a captain there, and he had it happen to him 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
With a bull red. So yeah, there's
So we're
some-
talking about a bull shark, almost for sure.
yeah.
Ooh.
But we're talking about a bull shark that's at least 6, 7, 8 feet long.
Hmm.
So they've been caught right in the Potomac River.
Yeah, but
Sharks.
I'm not going to give away Jamie Clow's spots. But I mean, he's kind of a mid-bay guy. I mean, he's not fishing Smith Island, at least I don't think.
That's where we live.
I'm telling you, there's some creatures in the bay that just
Well,
don't
it
quite
makes
know
sense.
about.
It makes sense as the fishery becomes more and more healthy, it seems like. We're getting more fish that haven't been here in a while that these predatory fish are going to follow. So it makes sense.
I'm starting to see a lot
yeah.
more that the southern fish are thriving in the bay a lot better than say our rockfish, who should be thriving in the bay, but the fish coming up from the south are taking over.
That's kind of my theory. Not only, you know, with warming water and stuff like that, but it's the diminishing of the largest predator that was here, and there's other fish moving in here to fill that gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
Other question coming in. Let's see here. Lucky and Blessed, which I believe is our buddy Scott Steers.
It is.
He says,
Scott.
nice red. That said, how are the bull reds on a whole doing? And do you think there should be any new regulations on how they are caught and released to better their conservation? Man, I'll throw my opinion in there, Scott. I think the redfish is a perfect example of how fish should be regulated. But I'll let the expert chime in on that.
Yeah.
100%. I think, you know, the slot is, I think they're a very good example of how fish should be regulated. I'm all for it. I've been talking with a lot of people, some of the other guides, and Dave Sikorsky with CCA, and I think everybody wants a slot limit. It only makes sense. Not
on rockfish, you mean?
Yeah, for those. So because the redfish is doing so well. As far as catch and release regulations, a lot of that stuff's hard to, you know, you can only ask for so many regulations because then DNR has to enforce them. I think education's the best thing as far as how to properly catch and release. These redfish are hardy fish. I mean, they are
tough.
I've been 6 days a week for the last month and a half now, and I haven't seen a floating redfish yet. And there's some redfish being caught and released, and unfortunately, not all of them are handled correctly. You know, you hear someone bang off the bottom of the boat. It happens, but they all swim away. They're strong. You revive them correctly. I think education is probably the best way to go for that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And I would take it a step further. Education is definitely a big part of it, but I think another reason why redfish thrive so well is because we've got, you know, let's think about where redfish live. We have Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, that's 9 states. Every single one of those states has a slot limit. So, you know, I think one of the reasons for the redfish doing so well is that there seems to be some kind of interstate communication going on, or at least they're sharing the same science, because, you know, they're migratory fish.
Yeah.
And, you know, if Maryland put a slot limit on rockfish, but Virginia didn't, you know.
Yeah. I think the goal, not to get political, right? We're not talking about this to be political. It's really to conserve the resource.
Conserve the resources.
And the
A little
fish,
common sense.
so we can have something for the next generation. I think that's our goal, and our mission statement is the fishing channel, and that's just really important. You know, like, you know, you take children out, and this is something we want to save for them too.
Well said. Well said. Question from Drew Graham. You want to?
Yeah. If you can throw one jig / bait color combo, oh, he's getting our question, and had to catch a red, what would it be?
Oh, let's see. Probably this guy right here.
There it is.
Show and tell. Like it. I've used that.
What is
exactly that one?
This is so this is actually a color I had LJ paint for me, but he sells one very just like it. He might even be selling this now, but it's kind of a blue and silver head with this eye. I love this eye. And then this is a Z-Man. It's pearl blue glimmer. This poor lure has probably caught 25 reds, and it's held up. I just took it out of commission. The hook is bent just a little bit, but yeah, when I was looking over the boat actually this morning, just making sure everything was good to go, checking leaders, and I noticed this hook was a little bent, and I said, that's got to go. So this one's getting retired, but this is my favorite. And I don't know why. I think it just appeals to me. They all work.
Yeah.
Question from Jesse Howe. I don't think short sharp is a question. Covey have been in the bay for a long time. You can catch tarpon down the eastern shore of Virginia. You can, if you find the guy who knows where the spot is and hold him at gunpoint, because those tarpon spots in Virginia are well kept secrets.
I saw tarpon in the bay this year. You
have? You seen them roll?
I had them roll right. We were marking. We're hunting for reds, and I kept marking this little school of. I looked like 5 fish, and I thought maybe it was cobia. It was a tiny little wolf pack of reds. And we casted at it probably. I mean, I got back on them 4 or 5 times, and we kept casting to them. Nothing. And finally, I'm in the tower. They rolled like 20 foot from my boat, and they were easily. I thought they were dolphin at first until I saw how shiny they were, and then I saw the little fin there, and I said, "Well, those are some huge tarpon."
Wow.
Now
that's crazy.
We never ask captains for spots, right? That's your money. But if you could just answer this one question.
Oh, boy.
Maryland or Virginia?
It was in Maryland.
Wow.
Silly.
I'm telling you, people will be catching tarpon in Maryland in 10 years.
This is probably a good time to let the audience know how they can get a hold of you to schedule a charter.
Catch a tarpon.
Yes.
No, we're not advertising that.
No, I actually told LJ that story the day it happened, and he's already, I'm going to make you a lure. What do you think will work? I'm going to make you something. We're going to catch a tarpon. Like, hey, I'm all for it. I'll rig a rod and have it ready for the day I see him again if I think it might work. But yeah.
That's special stuff. Jesse Howe asked a question. He says, speaking of bull sharks, do you think the bay will ever have a viable and consistent shark fishery?
Oh, geez. Yeah. We were just kind of touching on that.
I mean, sometimes I don't do much bait fishing, but, or really hardly any at all. I know the guys that do further south in the bay, sometimes they're looking for cobia probably. Sometimes they can't catch anything but sharks.
Oh, wow.
But I think it's already there.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the area of the bay you're talking about, right?
Right.
Um,
The further south you get, the better chance you have of catching any of these
Yeah.
sharks or any fish really coming from.
Yeah, our buddy E asked, and we've sort of already hit on this, but maybe we can add to it. E of Cape Coral's Jupiter Kayak Fishing asked, "What is your go-to bull red bait? Is it artificial or live or cut bait?" Thanks for your time.
Oh.
So I am strictly artificial. The way I run my trips, we don't go out, sit, throw bait out, and wait for the fish to come to us. I try to take that whole part out of it, and I go find the fish myself. And then I have my crew kind of ready to throw and deploy artificial baits. And I'm using big paddle tails like this, or this, and these are some of my favorite colors. And the one I just showed.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out paddle tails, big baits, different times of year and different situations call for different size heads. LJ actually just made me, or he made, but I had to peg him for it, a 1/2 ounce jig head that has an 8/0 hook a heavy duty hook capable of taming these beasts. Because there are times where that's needed.
Yeah, was it these HD ones here?
So those are all 1.5. That's actually that's a haul. I went to his house and just raided his inventory. Yeah.
But he is working on a oh gosh, what's the brand? A Mustad hook. I think it's the one you're talking about. It's a 1/2 ounce jig with a kind of an oversized hook just for that kind of fit for
It's
big
out.
bull reds.
It's at the local tackle shops. And I've had a prototype of that for about a year now that I've been using, and it's been crucial in some situations.
Yeah.
And awesome.
There's a lot of people who are watching our show that don't live in the area. So they don't know who LJ is.
All right. LJ is Captain LJ. Sorry if you're local, you know he's a famous local guy. He's just an awesome guy, and
He is.
He makes the best jig heads, I'm gonna say, out there.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy should be at ICAST. He's just is too yeah, he would have won ICAST, but he just doesn't want to get into that. He's a local family guy.
Yes.
And these are his jig heads. This one has been put through the ringer, and you can see it still looks good. And they work.
Their paint job, the paint job that he puts into those jigs is just top notch. I mean, if nothing else, you know, if you want to say, well, fish will hit any jig, right? Which I don't think is true. I think that big eye makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if nothing else, like those things last. We fish on rocks all the time here on the bay, and you can bounce those things off the rocks, and that paint job stays.
Yeah. So I think LJ has a website, gijigs, I believe, .com. If not, GI Jigs can be searched on Instagram and on Facebook as well. So whether you live in the Chesapeake area or not, you can certainly get yours if you go to any of those sites.
It's funny. The first time when I was sold on GI Jigs was actually the first time I splurged and said, "Oh my God, those are expensive. They're more expensive than the other ones I bought them." I fished the Bay Bridge. No secret. I fished the Bay Bridge all day long, bouncing this jig head off of the pilings, concrete pilings, and it was a tiny little chip in the paint. And that's all day long. I mean, I probably hit those pilings 100 times, and I said, well, these are good. And then I met LJ, and he's just an awesome guy.
Yes, he is very humble, funny, fun.
And he's a family guy.
Yeah.
You know, I hope LJ doesn't mind me sharing this. But with that new jig that he has out that you used the prototype for, we went over to his house we were low on jigs as well. And
he's like our drug man.
He had to come downstairs, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't have much time. My parents are in town." And I'm like, "But you've been so busy.
Yeah.
How do you have time for your parents?" And he's like, they came in town just to help him wrap thousands of packs of these jigs. So like you see his jigs at, pretty much every tackle shop in the region, and you assume it's this big manufactured process. It's just a small family-owned
Mm-hmm.
business where he takes a lot of
Yeah.
pride in what he does.
Looks like our boy E has another question
Oh, okay.
related to tarpon.
No, he said tarpon talk.
Oh, okay.
But he says, "What's the depth and size of your jig heads?"
Mm-hmm.
So we are generally finding these things in less than 40 feet of water. These redfish, at least. And I like to throw the 1.5 ounce with an 8/0 hook, heavy duty 8/0 hook, GI jigs. Reason I do that, because I need to be ready for whatever situation we're going to come across. You never know. These fish do come up on the surface and blitz. Guess what? This works.
Mm-hmm.
You throw it out, rip it across the surface, or even jig it below the surface. They're going to eat it. I also find these fish on the bottom using my electronics. So a 1.5 ounce is enough to get down fast enough. And because these fish, I call it the fire drill on my boat, because it literally is. When I find them, you've got 20, 30 seconds. If you're not hooked up, it's too late. These fish swim so fast. So that's why I use the heavy jig when I'm fishing for them in this way.
Well, let's talk. Actually, I think there's a perfect time to sort of talk about it, because you brought up electronics and finding the fish, and whether they're up on top or on bottom. And I'm going to try to get this question in because we've got other questions coming in already.
I love these questions.
And guys, thank you for asking the questions. If we look back and watch any of our shows, the best ones by far.
I don't know how I'm going to pick the best one.
The best ones are the best shows that we have are always because of audience questions. Yeah. But we're going to pull up some images really quick that you shared with me from your hummingbird Solix unit.
Good education moment here.
And they're side imaging, and we can come back to these, but I'm going to kind of scroll through them a little bit. And as I mentioned, and we've mentioned before, a lot of what we do for this show is education. And when I talk to a lot of young anglers and new anglers, they, or when they're on my boat, they'll look at my side imaging pulled up and will, wonder what the use is of that. How do you read it? What's the benefit of that? What are they looking at? Can you walk us through? Let's find I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
What are we seeing there?
Okay, so we'll start at the bottom of the screen. The bottom of the screen is history. Because the top, where you see the little boat in the center, is what you're seeing real time. So this is us pulling up on a ton of big reds. Every one of those dots and sort of looks like rice where it's yellow.
Yeah.
And then the black marks are the shadows of the fish, actually.
Wow.
So you're looking at real time at the top. The bottom is history. So what I'm doing, I can hear myself now. At the bottom of the screen, I'm yelling at everybody to throw to the left of the boat. Okay, because they are about, let's say 70 feet out. And I'm telling everybody to give a nice big cast to the left.
And you're basing that, how far they off are to the left, based on the numbers on the top of the screen to the left and the right of the boat icon, right?
Correct. So that is looking at each side of the boat. And this situation's 174, so about 175 feet. I'm actually running my side imaging at 200 feet now, and I'm very confident. I've marked schools of reds out to 200 feet now, up to 20, 30 miles an hour. So
wow.
I got this thing dialed in. It is working tremendous. But
wow.
Yeah, so fish on the left side of the boat. I'm telling everybody, give you a nice long cast. And as I obviously slowed down, these fish are drifting underneath the boat. So you're kind of looking at what was history. Now they're coming under the boat, and now they are just on both sides of the boat. And right where the boat is, right when this picture was taken, is that's a you can't miss situation there. They're just everywhere.
Mm.
Drop it straight down, throw it to the left, throw it to the right. You're gonna hook up.
Wow. We'll look at some other pictures. Anything of note to share of this?
So that one you could, the left side's looking a little better than the right, but you can't go wrong with either. And then you can see it towards the end. We're getting out of them. So that is what I talk about. These, and you can almost see.
So you're referring to the top right portion of this picture where you're seeing that
the
you've
top
drifted
portion of the
past
picture.
them.
They're starting to sort of go away. You're not seeing them as much. And on the right side, especially, you don't see them at all. Left side still got a few. But like I said, most of these pictures, this screenshot is probably only showing, I don't know how fast this scrolls, but maybe 30 seconds of history.
I think one of the questions that I get when people are on my boat a lot and from other anglers is the dark brown stripe through the middle of the screen. What is that?
That is to the bottom. So basically, there's no numbers on this screen. Maybe another picture will show the numbers at the top if you got one. There you go. So this one, you see where the black turns to yellow. Let's call it 25 feet. That's 22 feet. There's the depth on the screen.
Yeah.
That is from the boat to the bottom, and that is how you're going to know how deep a water you're in.
I think that was a really good explanation of that, Captain. One question I have that I've always sort of wondered is, and maybe it's a bunch of baloney, but a lot of captains and a lot of guys will tell me that when they go over a big school of reds, they can tell that those fish are reds, not big stripers or big anything. Can you tell?
Yeah. I've had I was running about 30 miles an hour, and I'm fully confident at running 20 and marking these fish out to 200 feet. And I know whether it's bait, reds, or mackerel or blues. Usually where the reds are, you're not going to see big rockfish when the reds are here. So,
Sure.
And if you see a big school of big fish, it's not cobia. Cobia aren't schooled up like that. So it's going to be reds. You can't miss it. Once I train my eye every day, every morning, every time I go out, once I find them, like, there they are again. I know what they look like again, and you can't miss it. Even the first time I find them, you can't miss it.
So the people who charter with you, aside from getting on some really great fish, having a good time, what kind of education do you share with them? The rod to the electronics. What else comes with that experience? So
what I try to do is walk my clients through the entire day and let them know what I'm thinking, let them know why I'm using this in this situation. Nothing's a secret, especially not on my boat. A lot of the guys come to my boat to learn, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it. And I like to walk people through. It's, the boat's comfortable. You're using the best gear out there. I just want everybody to know what I'm thinking at all times. If I'm going this way, this is why I'm going this way. If we're fishing this way, this is why we're doing that. If we're using this lure, we're using it for this reason. I try to just keep that dialogue going on with people, and they really start to get excited about it, and they start to, are we going to use this lure now because we're here? And it's great. They really pick it up.
Yeah, I like that experience too. We got a question here. Sure Sharp. Captain Steven, I gotta say your boat is bad. We're a family channel, so I'm not gonna say this, but he's really excited.
Bad butt.
How does it handle the steep chop out in the bay? I love that question. Yeah.
My boat is the most comfortable boat I've ever been on that can still fish in 18 inches of water. That's all I gotta say. I mean, today was we're probably looking at 3-footers today, and it was rough. And my clients were sitting in the front of the boat, if that tells you anything.
Wow.
Usually people are always in the back when it's rough, but the boat's ride's soft. It's heavy. It's 10 foot wide, so that helps a lot with the buoyancy and keeps my draft down. So when I was looking for the perfect boat, like I said, 120%, I'm all in. I'm going to get the best boat I can find and the best gear. That's the boat. It's comfortable. It handles the rough stuff, but it doesn't limit me at all in the shallows, which I love to fish the shallows too.
Man, if I took people out in my boat in 3-foot swells and they were sitting on the front, I would have such a hefty chiropractor bill to pay for these
people would fly out of the boat.
There's no, so it's dry. I can count on one hand how many times the windshield of my boat has had water splashed on it. It's incredible.
Patrick has another question. He says, what water temperature is best for top water?
Love these questions. We were thinking here.
All depends on what you're trying to catch.
True.
No, rockfish 65, 70, you start seeing rockfish eat top water in the right conditions. Redfish, they'll come up on the surface. Top water, get them to eat top water. It's tough. You got to find them kind of up top first. And then we actually throw this big guy. I don't know if you ever seen the Chug Norris.
Wow.
But that is a big lure that I throw top water for redfish, and they eat it up.
I'm sure that makes a lot of noise. Get their attention.
It's kind of, the heat of the summer. When the redfish are here, it's hot, and they're doing their thing. If they're on top, they decide they want to come up top, they're there. I haven't figured out a secret solution to that, but when I do, I'll be real happy.
I guess it also depends on where you are. When I went out with Captain Nathan Beach, who's also a really great charter captain as well, they were a little deep. There was some serious structure that they really loved down there, and they were hanging out. So they were not top water. We had to go deeper than that.
It's crazy. And I know my portion of the bay and how much they change in just a few miles with their pattern.
Yeah.
And that's why I told you I'm really excited for the new pattern as they move up a little bit further. It's completely different fishery.
It is. And I was going to ask about that. Not just Nathan, but we also do a fishing report every month with CL Marshall, and down Crisfield and south, even further south than that, down towards Kiptopeke and Cape Charles, people aren't using artificial for bull reds.
No,
I mean, they'll have it in the arsenal, but usually they're using bait of some sort. Why do you think that's different up here? And what do you atone to that, your ability to have success with just artificials?
So I think you can.
And I'm not eligible for question of the night. So.
Good question. I think you can catch them down there with artificial, but their patterns are different. They might be feeding on different bait. Maybe they're eating crabs out there on the bottom, and that's what makes sense to throw to them. Out here, I've seen them throw in huge menhaden out of the water. So we're throwing big paddle tails at them.
Yeah. And
man, it's crazy. I was just talking with another captain the other day about how they act. I mean, just even 10 miles, they act completely different. You don't see the same stuff. And yeah, I don't know the lower portion of the bay like a lot of those other guys you mentioned do. And they're great captains down there, and they know that place like the back of their hand. But that's what I've decided I'm going to figure out up here in the last several years. Like I said, I went in it's crazy. It blows my mind how much they change.
Yeah. Got another
I got
question
this
coming in, guys. We got a couple of more minutes.
Yeah.
We're not going to keep Captain Steve here all night. So if you got any more questions, go ahead and ask him now.
Yes.
But our man Shore Sharp and
again.
Shore Sharp, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, you're awesome.
We've noticed you log in for a lot of our shows and participate. Captain Steve, what's your go-to rod and reel spin and bait or bait caster? So I guess you get to choose which one's your go-to. I can't imagine you're giving a bait caster to too many customers.
Yeah, so baitcaster has its place for experienced guys, and for reds, I think the spinning gear is it's the way to go. What I use, and it's been flawless this year, is a Shimano Vanford 5000s. They come with a nice power handle. They're great. I mean, we put them through some work and no drag issues. They're still smooth. Everything's going good. No line digging into the reel. Everything's working great this year. And then for rods, I use a JLS 704 JLS custom rods. It's got enough backbone. These fish we're releasing them. I mean, we don't catch the ones I'm targeting. We don't catch slot reds. They're all catch and release. So I use a rod, very light rod. It's still tons of fun, but it's got enough backbone to get them into the boat quick without really wearing them out too hard.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of those videos. You had a gentleman on, I think it was a cobia or red, using the JLS rod, completely bent. A crazy fight. So if that rod was able to handle that kind of action for as long as y'all were sitting there trying to get it on the boat, it's a pretty sturdy rod.
I just want to look at this again. I mean, good.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Is that actual size?
That's bigger than you, ladies.
That's crazy.
So that fish was not caught with the proper gear, and that guy is a friend of mine. He brought a small rod, and I think it was like a 2000 size reel on the boat, and he was just trying to catch Spanish mackerel or something, and he hooked into that red, and it was, oh my God, it was tiring, that fight. But we got it in the boat. I had to drive the boat, chase that fish several times.
That looks like what we're giving away. Now this is a 1 ounce. Was that a 1 ounce? What was that?
That was probably a 1 ounce.
Okay, so this is
I was surprised when I saw that rain minnow in that fish's mouth. I was like, that's odd. Yeah. But I mean, I guess when the bulls just go into a frenzy, they just eat everything, right?
Even when they're not in a frenzy, they eat tons of stuff. And I've seen them eating rain minnows, actually. Yeah. A school of rain minnows, I've seen them run through it. So it's not that far off. And several times we've hooked up on rain minnow on the GI Jigs rain minnow lure, which is replicating a rain minnow, small bait in the bay.
Well, we were running out of time. We didn't get to all the cool questions I had, like talking about the cobia. And, you know, I was telling Grant before we came on the show, I've never thought of cobia as such a beautiful fish until I saw some of the sized ones that you had, and you can see all the intricate details of this fish, and it was really beautiful.
Cool fish.
They have a really pretty line that runs down them.
Kind of remind me of like a shark and a channel cat had a baby.
That's what I tell people. That's exactly what they remind me of.
Yeah, but like channel cats, nobody thinks of them winning beauty contests. I think cobia are really cool fish. Yeah. We don't keep a whole lot of fish, but I think my next cobia, I almost kind of hope it's gill hooked because I've heard they're delicious.
I don't. Some people think I'm crazy, and this might blow everybody's mind, but I really don't eat fish.
Jiminy crickets.
Wow. I'd rather eat a steak, but I'm a big catch and release guy. Yeah. You know, I encourage it a lot on my boat. I'm not nothing. If it's not against the law, I'm not going to tell or against the regulations. I'm not going to tell my clients if they want to take stuff, but I always tell them, take it if you're going to eat it fresh. You don't need to fill the freezer. We're not going to kill a ton of fish today.
For sure. Well, I have one more question for you.
Yep.
Since you have had such great success in stepping out of the 9 to 5 and getting into this business and the turnaround you made, what, if you can give one piece of advice to someone who's interested or not even interested and just can be encouraged by something that you say, what would you share?
So sort of like following their dream,
Yeah.
even if it's not a charter captain.
Mm-hmm.
So I 100% tell people to follow their dream. It's what I've done, and this has been the best year of my life. And it's so rewarding to go out, do what you love, wake up every morning, be excited. As far as I think if you just put the work in, I mean, I was working behind the scenes. I wasn't a big social media guy, boasting about what I was doing. I put in a lot of work behind the scenes leading up to this because this has always been something I wanted to do. And I think if you put in the work, you build your confidence. That shows, and it'll come through.
Yeah.
So put in the work, be passionate about what you want to do, and it worked for me. So maybe I'll tell everybody to just jump in 2 feet or head first, whatever you want to think about it. Just jump in, just do it.
As long as your dream isn't to like open a Blockbuster.
Oh.
let's talk a little bit of reality. You know, you got to talk to your wife, have some reality checks, because that's what she does to me. She brings
have some amazing support, right?
She brings me back to earth every once in a while, but yeah.
Right on.
Have good friends. Have good friends.
Yes.
Like, you know, good friends mean a lot, and encouraging people. Surround yourself with great people. Yes,
for sure. People are on your team. You know, I can go into whole other things that are important to do because I'm a counselor. So I'm going to stay away from that because I can talk another hour. But basic information that you gave is really helpful. So it is that time for the winner of this awesome package of lures and hat. Excited.
All right, let's pull up. Was it Shore?
Shore
Shark.
What were some of the questions? I mean, I remember one of them.
Asked a lot of questions though.
Yeah,
he did.
Which one? Cobia, rockfish.
Yeah, I think this is the winner right here. How does your?
That's how he got me. All right, yeah, he wins.
Now, all of his questions were good.
He also asked, "What's your go-to rod and reel?" Yeah. So that's a good one as well.
Everyone had really great questions. I wish everyone can win.
I know that's probably the hardest part of my day.
Yeah. Well, we're sorry that we provided you with the hardest moment of your day.
Tell you, man.
Poor Captain.
Maybe we go back to the wheel.
Never do it again.
Sharp. Hook us, message us on Facebook. We need your address to send you this package of stuff. But
he's from out of town, right? So this is probably new stuff for him.
I don't know. I think he's
he sounds like he knows.
I think he might be. He mentioned that that he needs to make it down to OC to pick up some Hook sunglasses. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's too far away.
Yeah, there you go.
So before we close out, how does someone get a hold of you if they want to schedule charter?
So best way is obviously I'm on Instagram and Facebook. You can contact me, message me through there. I try to get to everyone. Obviously, it's crazy this summer, but I get to everybody within a day or two. But I like to send people to my website. They can kind of see everything we do and get an idea.
That website?
www.griffinsguideservice.com.
Okay. griffinsguideservice.com.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Here it is.
There it is.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Steve, this has been fun.
I'm honored.
Very educational and touching. Next thing I need to bring my tissues. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Your questions, your comments. This is really fun.
I'm pumped. Like,
Yeah.
we always make an excuse not to go fishing, which is just ridiculous. We
Wow.
get so busy. We get so
Yeah.
busy doing every little thing.
I mean, my counseling gets in the way, but yeah,
building boats, you know,
life.
putting out new apparel. We
Business
got a
stuff.
teaser on that one, guys. It's coming. But I think tomorrow we should go fishing. How's
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
wind
go
supposed to be
fishing
tomorrow?
I'm excited about tomorrow.
Cool.
Wind's supposed to be good.
Looks, I'm at a wood table right now. I'm knocking on it, but
So are we.
conditions are everything for these fish. It makes it very, very tough when it's windy. So
Well, when you get on them, just text me the
Yeah.
coordinates and we'll come get over.
Well, we wish you continued success in your business and your family. You have a beautiful family. Thank you so much for your time. Thank them for allowing us to borrow you for this time. And you have anything else you want to share? Crazy Horse?
I just like to thank all my fishy friends for supporting us once again.
Right.
great
Thanks,
stuff,
everybody.
guys. Thank you.
Have a good night. Fish on.
Got off in town, resident on 70 Road. Got a nice wife and kids, y'all right inside the grove. You know I like Mr. Clark. Yeah, I should know he is my friend. Say if I just stay out the grave, he'll see that I don't go through the pen. Mr. Clark is a lawyer.